Hey guys, it's Joey Rowan, and if I look very glowy, it's because I have my candle burning down here. For this video, just so I look very lit up, very haunted, very scary, so I can scare you all with my videos. Not really. It smells gorgeous and it's purifying, so that's why I am lit up from underneath. So today's video, talky video, because I've just uploaded a different one, is going to be called Witchy Healing. And by witchy healing, I mean healing of the soul, healing of the spirit, healing of the person who we are and want to be on the inside, rather than physical healing or sexual healing. None of that. None of that. Watching you. So, today's video is basically something that's come to me a lot recently, and I think a lot of people at this time of year particularly feel very isolated, very down, very depressed. There's a lot of stuff going on and it's not good for us in terms of our own spirit and soul. And I feel January quite heavily. I'm not going to go into the reasons why specifically, because that's mine and it's personal and I don't feel the need to share that with the world. But needless to say, every January I get into a funk. And there's very, very good reasons behind it. It was in January that stuff happened to me and it destroyed my life at the time, and it created years and years of struggle and coping, shall we say. So every January I go into this period of, it's like mourning. That's what it feels like every January. And every January I start getting down and I'm like, why on earth am I getting, and then I remember. And every year I think maybe it won't happen to me this year, and every year it does. So every January I have to back off, and you'll see me make less videos, and I will be less available for chats, and I will be less available on Facebook, and I won't be around as much, because January is a time for me where I have to take that time away from everything else to focus on healing myself. And the more I see about that in this time of year, and I think the need for healing of soul and spirit in the community is really important. And I think that's why I'm making the video. Excuse me. Sniffles as well, so there's another form of healing that everybody needs at this time of year. So how do I mean, how should, what triggers it, okay? What do you mean witchy healing of the soul? I mean that things in our lives, our experiences, our relationships with people have an effect on us which is detrimental. We get into situations which we shouldn't get into, and they start to eat away at us from the inside. And the easiest way, I thought about this, I was like, how can I put this? What is the easiest and best way to put this? And the easiest and best way I could think that most people will have experienced is the breakups with relationships, with love and sexual relationships that have broken up. So after you break up with someone or are broken up with someone, certain behaviours can occur. And after a certain point, these behaviours become really unhealthy and really obsessive, and they start damaging our soul. And it's at that point we need to take control and cleanse ourselves and focus inwardly and improve ourselves. So I'm sure that everybody on the face of the planet has had this happen to them, probably usually when we're young and we don't know how to cope with it so well. I mean, if you can ever cope with it well. I don't think perhaps you can. So the first time you were ever dumped by somebody and you really, really loved them and you didn't see it coming, or they cheated on you and you had this great, this didn't happen to me, this happened to someone I knew, and I don't think this, because I dump people if they cheat on me, I'm like out of it, but this person was cheated on and found out, and the bloke in question and her had this deep, meaningful, all-nighter conversation about the cheating and what went wrong and if she could forgive him and yada 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 yada. What was wrong? What was wrong? For the whole night. And they came to the conclusion that they could work through it, and 2 days later he dumped her. So in that situation, it's basically having the rug dragged out from under you and you fall flat on your face. And what are some behaviours that the soul engages in, that the person engages in, that the heart engages in afterwards? Well, for example, people may well get to the point where they're cyber stalky. And after a lot of relationships, a lot of people do this, and the freedom of the internet makes it worse. Like looking at their pictures, who are they talking to? Have they found someone else? And that jealousy kicks in. It's keeping an eye on them, and I think I can't even fully explain why we do this apart from to hurt ourselves further. And then we reach a period of rage, probably. I want to hurt them as much as possible, and people will, if they get involved with someone else fresh off the bat of dumping us, some people will send angry messages to the new person, or they will try and convince the new person that this person is a scumbucket and they should leave them. And maybe they are a scumbucket and maybe they should leave them. That might be the truth, but it's only damaging us. Even if we think it's our best intentions in mind to pass on the information, that person is only going to see you as a jealous, crazy ex, basically. And that's your soul hurting, engaging in that sort of behaviour. It's true of relationships with ex-friends, it's true of relationships with ex-girl or boyfriends, or married couples, or any sort of relationship which tugged on your heartstrings and then is ripped away can have really negative effects after the fact, particularly if we keep allowing our soul to engage in behaviour which is negative and detrimental to ourselves and will in fact require healing. So as witches, we then have an added problem, right? So in that rage, witches can then be like, right, fine, I'm going to cast against this person because she broke my heart in this way. She betrayed my trust. I thought we were in love. I thought we were friends. I thought we were whatever. And this person has betrayed me and I'm hurt and I have this ability, so I will use it. And at that point, you need to stop. I would thoroughly recommend that if you are in that period of mourning something, you don't engage in magic work anyway, because magic work is all about, firstly, energy, and you're going to be at a low point with your energy anyway, because you are in pain, because you are hurting, because you are dealing with something emotionally, perhaps physically. You might have other stress factors related to it. If you've broken up with someone, there can be financial factors, there can be friend factors, there can be all sorts of factors that you have to deal with and cope with and mourn the relationship or whatever before you even think about spell work of any kind. Maybe a little bit of healing for yourself, but otherwise I wouldn't engage in anything, because your energies are off. You're not going to be able to raise energy sufficiently to push into the spell. You're going to do yourself harm by doing that, because you're drawing on energy you just don't have. You're going to get tired, you're going to wipe yourself out. Additionally, the idea of karma and consequence and balance. If you decide in your anger to send a really angry text message, you know that there may or may not be consequences of that, the least of which being embarrassment. If you continue to do such things, you then are looking at even more serious consequences. Say this person decides that you're stalking them, goes to the police, then you're in trouble. Magic has the same sort of continuum within the universe. It may well be that the powers that be will once or twice ignore you, because it's through their blessing that magic works, right? So they aren't stupid. So they're going to say, if you like, say, you're in this pain. This pain is understandable. You are blood of my blood, spirit of my spirit. I am going to let you off and let you vent, and nothing, it's not going to work. Your magic isn't going to work because you're in a state of energy deprivation. You're in an emotional turmoil, so you can't focus properly, and you're hurting. So they might let you off a couple of times. You might get a slight slap on the wrist, like a week later you get a slight slap on. I can't even think of an example, but if you're aware of things around you, like something goes wrong, and it's not a massive problem, but it's a little nudge from the universe, like, don't do that. You might not, you might just, nothing might happen, and that's just the universe clamping down on you because you are in pain, and the universe will understand that. You know, the spirit, source, God, goddess understands that you're in pain. But if you persist in that action, then it comes into you will find karmic retribution. I'm sure of it. I believe it. Apart from anything, you're poisoning yourself because you are focusing on that negativity. You're focusing on that situation. You're focusing on negativity and hate rather than healing yourself and moving on and finding something better for yourself. You're hardening yourself. And it's the same thing with the Facebook checking of their pictures and things. If you're still doing that 6 months down the line, a year down the line, that's symptomatic of you have allowed the behavior to overrule you, to take over you, to harden in your heart and soul and be unhealthy. And at that point, you just need to cut it off. It's like a poison within you that you just need to chop, stop, and learn to heal. And it might be that you can't do that by yourself. And if you can't do that by yourself, there is absolutely no shame in counselling or therapies or something like that. And if it takes deleting your Facebook account or something like that, then that's what it takes, and that's what you need to do for that particular instance. As witches, you need to stop spellcasting. You need to go into yourself, meditate, and take the time to rebalance yourself. And there's all sorts of different ways you can rebalance yourself. Excuse me. And look for healing. Now, if it were me, I would suggest purification baths are the simplest, easiest, and really effective way of doing it. I even cleanse my chakras when I'm in the bath. And a visualization. And I visualize the sun as a crystal, a quartz crystal, pointed at me, and the beam of light comes down and poof through each one, poof through each one, and each one puffs through with the burst of colour that it's supposed to be, corresponding with chakras, pushing out any black gunk or anything like that. Push, 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 hands and feet as well, and then drains all the way in the bath. I quite often do that in the shower as well. Or I call on the elements. By the element of air, may I be cleansed, or, and then visualise air surrounding me and pulling out any negativity. Something simple and easy. So the first step of any healing process is to cleanse yourself of what has happened and make sense of what has happened. Now, that's a physical, magical thing that you can do. So you can physically take a bath and stick some salt and some herbs in, or just some salt, and just cleanse yourself that way. And get rid of it, get rid of it, get rid of it, get rid of it. But that's only in and it will make you feel better. But you're going to have to come to terms with everything that happened and cleanse and purge it out of you. So if it's a relationship with anybody, cleanse and purge any contact that you have with them. If that contact is so painful that it's just going to screw you around in your head and take you back to square one, cut off Facebook communications with them, cut off emails with them, cut off phone calls, delete their phone number. It sounds really harsh, but if that communication and your X months down the line is still going on, it's still screwing with you, it's still not allowing you to heal. Oh, excuse me, squeak, I need a drink of water. Then you really need to purge yourself of the poison. And quite often, 9 cases out of 10 with my exes, I'm done. 9 or 8 or 9 out of 10. Not literally 10, but you know, as a percentage. And this, sometimes people think I'm a bit harsh because of this. But it's like, what good is it going to serve you? If it's not going to serve you any good, just cut it and leave it. It's not possible in all situations. Marriages, when there's kids involved, obviously, is one. But when you are just in relationships or friendships that have gone toxic, and I've had some of those as well, cut it out and get rid of it, because it's not worth your time and effort. It's not worth allowing them back into your life only to be betrayed again. Does that sound harsh of me? Probably. But I honestly believe that if that person has actively decided to betray you, leave you out in the cold, cheat on you, lie about you, whatever, the first time, then be done. And I can hear it now. Undoubtedly, there are some times when people are really, really sorry and they apologise and they make good on their promise. If you've been through that situation, congratulations. I think that's the minority and not the majority, because change in that circumstance requires an F load of effort from the person. Slip-ups happen, things recover, people make up, and that's great. That's fantastic. If you can do that, that's fantastic. I wouldn't recommend that in relationships, particularly if the person is cheated. From my personal experience, it's like, if you've done it, bye-bye. I'm probably harsh in that circumstance, but fool me once, shame on me. Fool me twice, no fucking way. So I might be hard in that respect, but it has been my life experience that the minute I have gone against my gut and given someone a second chance, it has never happened. I had my first long-term boyfriend played me like a fiddle, and he cheated and he lied and he put me down and he was nasty, and I forgave him, and all over again. And since that day, you cheat on me, you spread lies about me, bye. Because I won't allow that to poison me, and neither should anybody else. You shouldn't allow people to poison you. So the first step in witchy healing, as far as I'm concerned, and any healing, is cut out whatever it is that is poisoning you. And if it continues to poison you over a period of time, cut it out. And if you can't deal with it up here, and you have cut him out, or her out, or whoever out, but up here it won't go away, maybe seek therapy or counselling, or look at different ways of adjusting your lifestyle and how you can make a difference. So writing it down, maybe write down when you think of this person, what you did, if you did anything or not. The second step of witchy healing is bolstering your own self-worth and balance. So you will have been off balance by the situation, and you're looking for balance within yourself. So what do? Well, you cleanse, as I stated before, and then you take some time for yourself to heal yourself. You go inward, you meditate, you do whatever makes you feel better. So you're allowed a period of, with relationships, you're allowed a period of mourning. You are allowed to be hurt and upset. Excuse me. You're allowed to cry. You're allowed to be angry. You're allowed to feel all those emotions, which are perhaps a little bit uglier, but they're natural human emotions. So feel them. Feel them, feel them, scream, cry, eat a ton of chocolate, watch sad movies, set yourself a time limit before you say that's enough. Wallow in the self-pity and then move on from it. It's fine to hurt, you know, when somebody has cheated on you, when somebody has betrayed you in whatever way, it is absolutely fine for you to hurt. Of course you hurt, you're human, and that person has done X, Y, and Z to you, and of course it hurts. That's fine, and realizing that you're allowed to be hurt is the first step in healing. And then you move on and say, right, I'm not going to allow this person to dictate me anymore. They've hurt me, they can F off, or if you're dealing with the situation in a different way, then you deal with that situation how you have to deal. But you focus on building yourself up, building your self-esteem up, and reprogramming your life. So some people do this, they get a haircut. They get their hair done, they get their nails done, they get, this is women in general, I guess, men may or may not get their hair done, I don't know, I'm not a man. So you go down to the gym, you get in shape, you have a new diet, you might try a new hobby, but as long as you're keeping it positive, that's fantastic and that's great. So that's something to keep in mind. So projects and short-term and perhaps long-term goals, but focus on short-term goals. I'm going to start a new hobby. I've always fancied going to kickboxing and my partner was never very supportive, so now I'm going to. I really wanted this new handbag. This is what I've done, and my ex was a Scrooge and was like, you're not getting that, it's too much money just for a handbag, so I'm going to go treat myself, and then that's it. I did that. That's something I did. Like, I bought myself a really expensive gift to myself, like, you have survived gift, and moved on with my life. Let's see. Then, you know, anything positive that you can do, and health and exercise is a really good one, because exercise then boosts your endorphins, your happy chemicals. You get in shape again, you try out different things, try something you enjoy, and you can meet new people. Not necessarily a new relationship, which might not be the healthiest thing in the world to do anyway, is to jump. But to take care of yourself, do something you enjoy and have fun. And you can investigate all sorts of things like health supplements, alternative healing medicine, Reiki, different types of meditation, and get to the point where you can then make yourself a candle of healing. And it can be a little one like the spell candles I mentioned earlier. It can be a great big chunky one, and you can have a candle for healing. This is what I suggest for a witchy spell at the end of it. A candle for healing and a black candle for ridding yourself of the past, that negativity. And take anything that is still in your heart, so anything that still burns you, right? So my ex cheated on me. Let's take some of my examples. My ex cheated on me and dumped me on my birthday. It's a nice one. I've had some lovely birthday experiences with men. Let's stick with that. When I was up north, the domestically violent arsehole completely ignored my birthday and told me that if I wanted any presents, I had to buy them all myself and wouldn't even go to the shop to get me a cake. And then you can have instances like that, or you can have stuff like, I feel this way. So I really regret going up north. It was the biggest mistake of my life. I still feel that to this day, and I have to keep burning that off because there's no point in me clinging on to that because it was a mistake. I was led astray by a guy who was a complete arsehole, and I can't allow him to ruin my life forever, and I won't. So, and those things you can take and you can burn them with that candle, burn those things away, and burn the blue candle for healing. And as those candles are burning down, try and imagine the balance within yourself becoming more balanced. And as you put all your energy into that, eventually you will follow suit. So I think I'm going on 25 minutes now, so more than 25 minutes. So I'll leave it there. But the whole point of this video is just to say, this is the time of year when I think a lot of us could do with readjusting our levels of balance. To look into ourselves and think what needs healing, what needs getting rid of, what needs cutting out, what needs draining off, and not expecting everybody else to shoulder everything for us, but to look into ourselves and heal ourselves from within a witchy way and within a human way. So that's it for this video. I hope I made some measure of sense. I don't know how much I made, but there we go. Many blessings.